All right, let's talk about tinnitus. And I know what you're thinking, that ringing in your ears. But it's so much more than that. We're going to dive deep into the neuroscience of this phantom sound and look at the absolutely mind-blowing science that's learning how to turn the volume down. Let's get into it.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a room that's totally silent, but you're not? You hear this ringing or a buzz, maybe a hiss? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. Think about it. Up to 15% of adults deal with this on a regular basis. That is a huge number of people. So this isn't some weird, rare thing. It's a major condition that science is finally really starting to crack, and not just understand, but actually treat effectively.
So let's put a name to it. Tinnitus. The official definition is pretty simple. It's hearing a sound, ringing, buzzing, you name it, when there's no outside noise causing it. The sound is 100% generated inside your own head. But where exactly? That's the million-dollar question, and it's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so to really get a grip on this, you have to know that there are actually two totally different kinds of tinnitus. And this is maybe the most important thing to understand right off the bat. Look at this breakdown. For more than 99% of people, tinnitus is subjective. That means only you can hear it, and it's happening because of what your brain is doing. Then you have this other kind, objective tinnitus, which is super rare. We're talking less than 1% of cases. This is a real physical sound, maybe from blood flow or a muscle twitch, that a doctor might actually be able to hear with a stethoscope. It sounds different too, more like a pulse or a click. And if you have that, you need to see a doctor right away, because it points to a physical issue. So here's the big takeaway, the thing you have to remember. For almost everyone, the sound isn't in your ear. It is in your brain. It's not that your ear is making a noise, it's that your brain has turned its microphone sensitivity way up.
Right, so how in the world does your brain just invent a sound? How is that even possible? Well, the leading theory is something called the central gain model, and it's a fascinating idea.
I love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. Picture your brain as an old car radio. You're trying to tune into a really faint station, right? The signal from your ears, that's the radio station, has gotten weaker, maybe from noise damage or just getting older. So what do? You crank up the volume knob to try and catch it. All of a sudden, you're not just hearing the weak music, you're hearing a ton of static. That static, that's tinnitus. It's the sound of your brain trying too hard to hear. So let's walk through it, step by step. First, something happens to reduce the signal from your ears, some hearing damage. Your brain notices, hey, it's too quiet in here, and it does what it's designed to do. It compensates by turning up the gain or its internal amplifier. This makes all the neurons in your hearing center super sensitive, kind of twitchy. They start firing off on their own, even when there's no sound. And your brain, trying to make sense of all this random activity, just interprets it as a sound. Boom, tinnitus. And this is the key insight, really. Tinnitus isn't your ear being broken. It's your brain being too good at its job. It's an amazing, adaptive brain just overreacting a little bit. It's the brain's plasticity, its ability to change, working against you for once.
Okay, so if the problem is basically bad wiring in the brain, it leads to a pretty exciting question. Can we rewire it? And the answer is yes. This is where the modern treatments get really cool.
So for years, the main idea was just to mask the sound, play some white noise to cover it up. But the new approach, it's not about masking. It's about retraining. It's about teaching the brain to turn itself back down. And the technology to do this is called bimodal neuromodulation. It's a fancy term for a simple idea, using two different senses at the same time to basically reset the circuit.
Right now, there are two main players in this space. First, there's linear. It's already FDA approved and works for a lot of people. It combines sound in your ears with these little, gentle electrical pulses on your tongue. Then there's the Oracle device, sometimes called the Shore device. It's still awaiting approval, but it works a bit differently. It pairs sound with stimulation on your neck or jaw. This one is really targeted for what's called somatic tinnitus. That's the kind where you can change the sound by, say, clenching your teeth or turning your head. And does this stuff actually work? Well, yeah. The data is pretty incredible. A recent real-world study on linear showed that over 91% of patients had a significant improvement. 91%! I mean, that is a massive leap forward. It's a total game changer.
So how does stimulating your tongue and listening to sounds stop ringing in your ears? Well, by hitting the brain with two different signals at the exact same time,
These devices essentially jam the tinnitus signal. They interrupt that hyperactive, synchronized firing of the neurons. And if you do that enough, over time, the brain learns. It calms those circuits down, and the phantom sound starts to fade.
But listen, these incredible high-tech devices aren't the only game in town. A truly modern approach to managing tinnitus is more like having a whole toolkit. There are lots of things you can do.
A huge piece of the puzzle is psychological. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, are absolute gold. The goal isn't to make the sound go away, but to change how you react to it. It helps you break that frustrating cycle where the sound makes you anxious and the anxiety makes the sound seem louder. Another one is tinnitus retraining therapy, which is all about teaching your brain to just file the sound away as unimportant, like the hum of a refrigerator. You just stop noticing it.
And of course, using sound is still a really powerful strategy. If you have hearing loss, sometimes just getting a hearing aid is a life changer. It brings back the sounds of the world, and the tinnitus just fades into the background. And now, this is all more accessible than ever, right? There's smartphone apps like Odo and MindEar that can deliver sound therapy and CDT exercises right to you. It's pretty amazing. And you can't forget about the fundamentals, your lifestyle. Seriously, protecting your ears from loud noises is the #1 thing you can do. Wear earplugs. Also, managing sleep and stress is huge. Anything you can do to calm your nervous system down, yoga, meditation, whatever works for you, can have a massive impact on how loud that phantom sound seems.
So that's the state of play right now. It's a pretty powerful toolkit, but the science is moving so fast, and what's coming next, well, it's even more exciting.
Okay, this is huge. For the first time ever, scientists can actually see tinnitus in the brain. There's a new test using light and AI that can tell how severe someone's tinnitus is with 87% accuracy. Now, why does that matter? Because for decades, research has been held back because you had to just ask people, is it better? Is it worse? Now we can measure it objectively. This is going to speed up research like you would not believe. And what about a pill? Well, the drug pipeline is finally starting to look promising. You've got drugs that are targeting inflammation. You've got others that are trying to physically repair the connections in the hearing system. They've even had success in animal studies preventing tinnitus from starting in the first place. The whole field is buzzing.
And all of this points to this one massive shift in thinking. We are moving past just managing tinnitus. The goal now is to fix the root cause, to actually repair the damage in the brain that started the whole thing.
You know, for so long, tinnitus was just a mystery. It was something doctors told patients they just had to learn to live with. But that era is ending. We now understand the how and the why, and we have real tools that are providing real relief. The question isn't, can we treat this anymore? The real question is, how close are we to making this phantom sound just a memory?